This is the story of a fisherman named Nasir, who used to catch fish in the sea and bring them to the city to sell them to support his family. His father was a good man and a devotee of Allah. The people of the city respected him because he could interpret dreams, and every interpretation he gave came true. But the king of the city could not tolerate this because he was a tyrant who considered himself a god. He had a beautiful daughter who grew up very fond of him. She used to go to the market with her friends. One day, she sees Nasir in the market and falls in love with him. When the king heard this, he became furious, because Nasir was just a fisherman, and his father was a saint of Allah, whom the king had already considered his enemy. So he added a tough condition to get them off the road. Calling everyone to the court, he told the dervish, "If your son loses on this condition, you will have to leave this city." The condition was that there was a deep forest in the middle of the ocean. There is an old ark kept in a cave. You have to bring it. But the king knew that the path through the jungle was not easy at all. To this day, no one who has gone into the forest has returned alive. So he gave such a condition. Will Nasir be able to fulfill this condition? To find out, watch the full story. When I hear the name Nurper, I think of the waves of the ocean. Those waves that rise every morning and touch the shore. This city was on the shore of the sea. The air always smelled of salt, and the water turned gold in its sunset. The stone alleys were alive with life. At dawn, fishermen would get into boats and cast their nets. He caught fish that shone like silver. In the evening, the Bastat Bazaar was filled with hustle and bustle. Fresh fish came straight from the sea. Merchants brought spices from distant lands. Women in colorful dresses sold handmade bread and pickles. The streets would come alive with the laughter and play of children. The Nurper market seemed to be illuminated by the glittering light of colorful fabrics, silk garments, silverware, and fish scales. Every morning, the call to prayer from the mosque would ring out. People would gather for prayer. Then the earning life would begin. The fishermen were running towards the sea. The merchants headed to the market, and smiles spread across the faces of the families. A fisherman named Karim was waking up his son. "Wake up, Dad. It's dawn. The sea is our livelihood. I will thank God and cast my net." The son would wake up and say, "Father, I'll catch more fish today. I will get a good price in the market. I will buy a new sheet for my mother." Karim would smile and say, "Insha Allah, Dad. But remember, be content with what you have." They had to pay the king's taxes, but with prayer, everything became easier. They would get into the boat and talk to the waves as they rode. "Today, please give us fish, brother, and feed our poor." On the other hand, a woman named Fatima was preparing bread. Her daughter would ask, "Mom, how did you make this pickle?" Her mother would say, "Dad, if you mix a little salt and prayers with the spices, then it will taste good." Touching her heart, her daughter would say, "Mom, the king's taxes have increased, and money is falling. What will happen if bread sells less today?" Fatima would sigh and say, "Yes, Mom, but God is watching. One day, everything will be fine. You pray, and run the house with faith." Life in Nurper was one of hard work, prayer, and a hidden fear of the king. But in every house, there was a constant whisper that would echo from the minaret of the mosque. However, amidst all this, King Jafar's arrogance cast a heavy shadow over the city, which was emptying people's minds, born from his wealth. When the market closed in the evening, people would talk quietly. "Brother, the house is being sold while paying this tax. Even if the fish survives, they have to go without food." But God, keep praying. King Jafar's palace stood in the middle of the city like a mountain looking out over the sea. The walls were covered in gold and silver. The windows were set with pearls, and inside the treasury, piles of gold, diamonds, and pearls sparkled like stars. So much wealth that the entire Nurper trembled at his gesture. The money coming from the market was so abundant, but it sucked the blood of people. Jafar considered himself a god because his wealth had blinded him. He has been a prince since childhood, but his arrogance grew even more after he received the throne. Once, when he was a little prince, he saw a poor fisherman on the seashore distributing fish. He thought, Why isn't this wealth mine? He became king and took everything for himself. Sitting on a golden throne in the court, he would look at the viziers and ministers and say, "Listen, you will accept me as your master. Think of yourself as your lord, and with one word from me all your wishes will be fulfilled, be it his gold, his palace, or any part of the city. I am your everything." The viziers nodded their heads in agreement, but they were afraid, a fear that would rob you of sleep at night. The king's face would appear in the dream. One vizier would quietly say to another, "Brother, when will you break this arrogance? People are starving to death due to the pressure of taxes. Bread is not cheap in the market." Others would say, "Be quiet. If you listen to it, you'll go to jail." The people of the city were helpless. New commandments every day. Praise the king or go to jail. Once, a poor fisherman's house was burned down in the dead of night in Jaffa because he had paid a small amount of tax. The house was burned to ashes in the blazing flames of the fire. The fisherman's wife was standing on the shore, crying, "Oh God, why is this fire upon us? What should we feed the children?" Along with that, the hope of prison was also destroyed. People fell silent. Conversations in the streets decreased, but at night he would whisper to his family, "When will this arrogance be broken? Oh God, please show some mercy to the king." The sound of prayers in the mosques of Nurpur increased, but they did not reach the king's ears. Every evening, an old man would say, "Father, pray. Keep asking for prayers. Allah will change your arrogance." The faith of the earth is the real light of the stone King Jafar. His daughter, Princess Layla, was so beautiful that even the waves of the sea stopped in her praise. Looking into those deep black eyes felt like the bottomless depths of the ocean. Her long hair rose like clouds in the wind. Smiling would bring peace to my mind, and even the earth would be ashamed of his behavior. Jafar loved her like a piece of his own soul. Every day she wore new silk clothes and pearl necklaces. The palace garden was decorated with flowers. Layla's house was filled with a flood of fragrance, spreading rose petals. Friends surrounded him. They would shower praise on him. Every morning Layla would tell her friends, "Look, my father made this dress from the finest silk in Nurpur." My friend would say, "Yes, my princess. You look like a princess." All the girls in town must be jealous. Layla was proud of her beauty, which was compounded by his father's arrogance. Once when I was a child, when I went to the market, people said, "Wow, you're a prince. You read." Then he thought, "I am the light of the world." Growing up, she would tell her father, "Father, I am the pride of the city. All the boys looked down at me. All the girls looked down at me." Jafar smiled and stroked her daughter's cheek. "Yes, my mother, you are my light. Even the king who wants you will bow his head." Layla would sit in the garden with her friends and show them her clothes. "Look, this silk, this necklace. All for me. This Nurpur bows down to me in a flash." Her friends would say, "Yes, my princess, you are the light of the world." The ocean is ashamed, but one friend would quietly tell the other, "This arrogance is not good. It will break one day, God willing." Sometimes Layla felt like this arrogance was making her lonely. Her friends praised her. But who is a true friend? Once, she saw a boy selling fish through the window. He was smiling. He had no arrogance. What kind of boy was he? She thought. She asked her friend, "Who is he in the market?" She said, "Nasir Darvesh's son is a very good fish." Layla shook her head, but somehow it felt like a wave had touched her. The city's livelihood was tied to the sea, like that of fishermen. Thousands of people would wake up in the morning, pray, get on boats, and fight the waves. They would cast nets and catch fish, sometimes a small silver fish, sometimes a big fish, as red as fire. A fisherman named Rashid used to say to his friend, "Brother, the waves are very high today. I am afraid. Will a storm come or not?" The friend would say, "Oh, trust in Allah. Throw the nets, and the fish will come. The family will survive. I will pay the tax in the market tomorrow." In the evening, friends would meet in the market, laugh and joke, They would count the money and return home. A businessman named Hassan would sit in his shop and say that the price of spices has increased today. Because of the king's tax, how will people buy? The neighbor would say, "Yes, brother. But pray, Allah will have mercy. If someone comes, everything will be sold out." The fear of the king was entangled in every boat and every net. Money ran out while paying the tax. Bread would be scarce in the house. People would secretly say that this wealth will eat everyone up. Only faith will save what is remembered. After the Maghrib prayers, people would gather in the mosque of Nur. An old man would say, "Father, keep asking for prayers. The king's pride will be broken. This is a test." A young man would say, "Yes, uncle, but when will you do it every day?" The old man would say, "Be patient. In Allah's time, you will win with faith." A woman would say, "Uncle, I make bread at home and pray. The children sleep without eating." The old man used to say, "Mother, God will see. One day, light will come." In Nurpur, there was a light that was beyond the king's fear. The Saint Ibrahim was an old man, but his face was like the light of the mosque wall. His eyes were like reading verses from the Quran. He lived in a small hut on the edge of the city. He listened to the sound of the sea and prayed. He prayed 5 times a day. He always recited tasbih and helped people. He gave bread to the poor. He prayed for the sick. He interpreted dreams. Every morning, people would come to the hut. "Father, I had a dream. Tell me what it meant." The saint used to say, "Sit down, drink water. Tell me what you saw." A businessman came. His face was dirty. "Father, I had a dream. A corpse was floating from the sea. The house was burning." The saint closed his eyes and prayed. Then he said, "Father, the explanation is lack of water and sorrow. Give charity to the poor. It will rain. The house will be saved." The businessman used to say, "Thank you, Father. Your interpretation always comes true. God's mercy." Another time, a woman came. "Father, in a dream, a tree was being cut down. Blood was flowing." The saint used to say, "This means a new marriage. But with patience, sorrow will go away. Ask for prayers. God will help." The woman would say, "Yes, Father, I will pray every day with faith like you." A soldier came for the 3rd time. Father saw a broken sword in the court. The dervish said, "This means fear will go away. You will win the war with faith. Just stand before the king with prayers." The soldier would say, "Your prayers will give me courage." ABA. Every evening, the dervish would sit on the side of the house. People would come and talk. "Father, the king's taxes have increased. There is no food in the house." The dervish would say, "Father, don't give charity, pray. God will give you wealth. In exchange for faith, be silent when you see arrogance. You will win with patience." The dervish had a son, Nasir, who was such a good boy that when he heard his words, his heart felt good. He was 20 years old. His face was clean. His mind was even cleaner. He respected his father like the walls of the mosque. In his childhood, Nurpur was poor, but there was love. In the house, the dervish would catch fish himself in the morning, take a boat and cast a net in the morning, and sell it in the market in the evening to support his family. He would sit Nasir on his lap and say, "Father, this fish he will thank God for his gift and feed everyone who lives in the market." Nasir would raise his little hand and say, "Father, I will also catch fish from the sea." Once, while little Nasir was casting his net in the sea with his friend Karim, a storm came. The waves were rough, and the dervish prayed, "O God, save my son." The storm stopped for Nurpur. The waves calmed down. Nasir remembers that moment. Father, God listens to prayers. Everything is possible with prayers. The storm also stops. As Nasir grew up, at the age of 10, he took responsibility on his shoulders. "Father, I will do this work. From now on, you are walking in the path of God. Keep praying. interpret people's dreams, go to the mosque. The dervish smiled and put his hand on his head and said, "You are right, Father. Remember these gifts of God every time you catch a fish. You will have to thank him for them. You will have to run the family, but keep your mind clear. Stay away from pride. Live with faith." Nasir's income routine was like worship. He would get up with the call to prayer at dawn, read the prayer, take a boat to the sea, and sail it. He would talk to the waves. "What will you get today? O Lord, be happy with whatever you give me, and feed the poor." I would cast a net, catch fish. Sometimes, if there was more, the house would be filled with happiness. Mother would say, "Father, give as much as you like today." Sometimes, if there was less, I would get through the day with patience. She would tell a friend, "God will give tomorrow." In the evening, I would meet my friends in the market. "Nasir, how much did you catch today?" he would say with a smile. "I am happy with whatever God has given me." "How are you, Karim Bhai? Have you paid your taxes?" Karim would say, "Hey, I gave it to you, but you feel light in prayer. You always smile with faith." Nasir would say, "Brother, life goes on with faith, not fear." Salim would say, "My friend, you are so good. How come the king's taxes have increased, even though there is less bread in the house? You still smile." Nasir would say, "What's the use of fear? Friend, trust in Allah. He gives and takes. We are only his servants. Let's pray. One day, everything will be fine, God willing." A woman in the market would say, "Nasir, Father, the fish are good, but the tax is low." Nasir would say, "Yes, and God will have mercy on you. Take some." In exchange for the prayer, the woman would say, "Father, you are like a dervish. May God bless you." But King Zafar did not like this at all. He was angry when he saw this. He thought, "This old man is misleading me. God, I am their Lord. Look at my wealth." Every day, the dervish was called to court and mocked. One day the court was full. The viziers are standing. The sepoys are gleaming with their swords. The businessmen and the amirs have changed their clothes. The king is on a golden throne. Princess Layla came from the garden with her friends. He was laughing at something. "That dervish comes here. You want me? What do you want?" "The entire treasury, one palace, half the market of the city. I will give it all. Just say the word." The dervish stood with his head bowed, his face calm like the water of the ocean, then said, "Huzer, I don't want anything. I obey Allah. Everything should be asked from him. Wealth is eternal. Faith is eternal." The king laughed loudly and mocked in front of everyone. "What does this old man say? Where is Allah? I am here. Look at my wealth. This gold, this diamond, is what you ask Allah for. Let's see what it gives." All the viziers laughed. The court burst into laughter. The soldiers also laughed. One vizier quietly said to the other, "This mockery is not good. The monk is a good man." Princess Layla also laughed, but inside, I thought, this joke is wrong. Babayan Dervish is a good person. Everyone in the market praises him. But the dervish remained silent. He prayed in his heart, "O Allah, guide this king. Teach him so that he can recognize you. He comes out of his own ego and gives light to Nurpur." This joke went on every day. Throughout the week and month, the people of the city would secretly meet the dervish. Outside the house, in the middle of the night, "Why is Dad tolerating this arrogance? Tell them we are together." A fisherman used to say, "Father, the house is being sold to pay taxes. I have chosen a boat for fishing." The dervish used to say, "Father, be patient. God's time will come. Will decide. If you get angry, your pride will grow. You will break it with prayers. Pray every day. Live with faith." Nasir would return home and see his father's face. His heart would become heavy. "Father, the king mocks you. In the court, I do something. In the markets, everyone is saying, let's unite against the enemy. The dervish would hold Nasir's hand and say, anger is the food of the devil. Pray. Have faith. God sees everything. He will guide you on the right path. Do your work. Catch fish. Run your family. Help people, as you do every day. One evening, King Zafar was sitting alone on the roof of the palace. He was watching the waves of the sea. The air was cold and salty, but in his mind, the devil's counsel was getting hot. This dervish was becoming famous in the city. People believed in his words. God's prayers. God's interpretation. My kingdom will shake. If this continues, it will have to be removed. Otherwise, the people of Nurpur will forget me. My pride will break. He called the vizier in the middle of the night. Inside the palace, in the room where only one lamp was burning, the vizier's face paled. Jihuzur has called, Jafar said, his voice low but firm. Vizier, I'm thinking of imposing a condition on the dervish. The condition is that his son is finished and he leaves the city. The vizier was scared and started sweating. Nasir, the son of the great saint, is a good man, very respected among people. If anything happens, the anger of the townspeople will increase. There could be a rebellion. Nurpur will be in turmoil. The king widened his eyes and shouted, Shut up, vizier. I am God here. My orders will be followed. Decorate the court tomorrow. Prepare everything. This condition will be such that no one will return alive. The ghosts of the forest will eat them. The vizier bowed his head and left. He prayed in his heart, O Allah, save Nurpur, stop this oppression. The next morning, the court was decorated as if for a festival. But there was fear in the air. The golden doors opened. The viziers stood in their robes. The soldiers drew their swords. The merchants and bureaucrats came. There was a trace of worry on their faces. Princess Layla came straight from the garden to the court with her friends in her silken robes. But her smile was faint. The king sat on the throne with a smile on his face, but a devilish glint in his eyes. The dervish was cold. He came. He lowered his head and walked quietly. The dervish, listen. The king said. The court shook at the sound. Today I will give you half of my wealth, a part of the entire treasury, half of the market in Nurpur. All of it will be yours. But your son must fulfill one condition. There was a pinprick of silence in the court. Everyone was surprised. Half the wealth is like a dream, but everyone knew the king's devilish mind. A businessman whispered, This condition is sure. Pray for death. The dervish said, Huger, tell me what the condition is. The king smiled as if he were a hunter watching his prey. There is an island in the middle of the ocean. There is a deep forest where the sunlight does not enter for fear. In the middle of that forest is a dark, terrible cave filled with snakes and shadows. In that cave is a chest filled with gold, silver, diamonds, and pearls. I had stolen it by fighting other kings. Thousands of people lost their lives for it. Send your son to bring that chest to me. If the condition is fulfilled, the wealth is yours. But if you lose, you will have to leave this Nurpur forever. You will have to bring the chest, alive or dead. For 3 days, a storm broke out in the court. A businessman stood up, his throat trembling. Huger, this is the order to kill so many people. The wolves in the jungle of that island sing at night. The tiger roared like a mountain. Last year, a soldier went to look for the chest. Only bones came back. The rest is the forest has been eaten. Not even a bird has been found, a fisherman shouted Huger. This injustice. Allah is watching. The soldier stopped him, but his voice remained muffled. Princess Layla was also surprised. How did she feel? She used to see Nasir quietly selling fish in the market, smiling. His smile was etched in Layla's mind. Despite her pride, Abu Jan thought this condition was wrong. He whispered to Saki and said, Do you know Nasir? The boy in that market is Saik. Saki said, Yes, princess. The son of the dervish is very good. Everyone praises him. But the king laughed. The condition was that the dervish would obey or flee to his Allah. The dervish closed his eyes and prayed in his mind. "O Allah, this is your test. Help me, save Nurper, give me the victory of faith." Then he said, "Yes. Huza, I have accepted the condition, but remember that if my son's condition is met, I do not want my wealth. Only you have to believe in Allah. You have to obey Him. You have to recognize His power. This will be my victory. This will be my victory." The happy king of Nurper thought to himself, "This old man, he agreed to the Marat. His son would end up in the jungle, and without the dervish city, my kingdom would be strong." He said, "Okay, I accept. 3 days. I want the ark." The court was broken. People came out crying. The streets became sad. The market was silent. A businessman said to his friend, "This is the condition. What will happen to Nasir after death? Pray, brother." The friend said, "Yes, let's go to the mosque. I want faith." The dervish returned home. His heart was heavy as if a storm was raging inside. Nasir got off the boat and stopped at the door of the house, tears in his eyes. "Father, what happened? You are sad. Why is something happening in the market? Friends are saying that there is a commotion in the court." The dervish made him sit on the ground. He fed him water from an earthen pitcher. He patted his forehead. He said in a choked voice, "Father, boss, today, at the court, the king has given you a condition." Nasir's mouth stopped eating. "What kind of condition is that?" "Father?" The tax dervish told him everything about the jungle, the cave, the ark, the shadow of death. 3 days. Nasir's face turned pale. Bread fell from his hands. Tears in his eyes. His throat trembled. "Father, that island is a story I have told since childhood. I've heard wolves calling at night, tigers roaring, snakes falling from trees. Who has returned alive? I cannot go from there. Father, I have lost you. This is not possible without Nurper, the mark of friend. I will give up all my bread, mother," he cried. She put her head at her father's feet and started crying. The dervish wiped away his tears with his hand. He said softly but firmly, "Dad, listen to me. This is a test of faith. God has chosen you for this work. I raised you with prayers, with dreams, and with the waves of the ocean. Now prayer will be your strength. Remember, God created the ocean and the forest. You who believe in Allah, He will send angels. He will show the way. He will give courage. It is not just the ark. Nurper's faith must be brought. The bread of the city must be prayed for. Everyone must be saved." Nasir thought. He swung between fear and faith. He remembered his childhood. His father's prayers fell due to lack. Thanks to the friend in the market, the call to prayer in the mosque. Then he got up and hugged his father. "It is okay, Father. It is Allah's will. I will go and bring the ark, and I will give you the victory of faith, not wealth. Keep praying." That night, a prayer meeting was held in the house. Father and son sat down and read the Quran. The verses sounded like the roar of the sea. Father said, "Father, your journey will be illuminated. The darkness will be gone. Even the animals will be friends. The happiness of Nurpa will return." Nasir did not sleep all night. He heard the sound of the sea. He asked for prayers. He said, "O Lord, save Nurpa. Take good care of my father. Give me faith." The next morning, Nurper woke up in a strange atmosphere. Half the city was filled with sadness and excitement. Fishermen gathered on the seashore. Merchants came running from the market. Women were praying with their children in their arms. Prayers were in the air. "Storm Ola, protect this righteous servant. Show him the way. Save Nurper." Friends like Kareem were crying, "Nasir, come back. We will wait. Let's sell fish together at the market." "I will pay," a woman said. "Go with Baba Nasir's prayers. God will listen like a servant." Nasir tied a small bag, 3 days' worth of food, hot bread, dates, and a small jug of water, with a small sword in his hand, a small portion of the Quran in his bag, and his father's prayers on his chest. He sat on the boat and rowed the boat. The waves rocked the boat as if to say, "Father, have courage. We are with you." Friends shouted from the shore, "Nasir, come back. We will wait every day." "Allah Hafez," a child said. "Brother Sind, why did you make Nurpa win?" Nasir smiled and waved his hand. "Pray, brothers. I will bring the ark. Insha Allah. I will bring the faith of Nur. I will bring back the happiness of the market." Nasir began rowing the boat in the deep blue sea. His body was drenched in sweat. After 2 hours, the island came into view. From afar, like a dark patch, the shadow of the deep forest was so tall that the sky was covered. The sound of animals moving in the wind was like the alley of Nurper. This was not the alley of death. The boat pulled up to the shore. He took out his sword. He carried the bag on his shoulder and entered the jungle. Fear was on his every step, but prayers were on his face. "Oh Allah, help me. Show me the way." The branches of the tree felt like they were pulling him by the hand. The wind was cold as soon as he fell into a hole in the water. The fear of drowning, the thorny bushes tearing at his face, made Nasir's chest throb. Pausing at every word, "Hold the sword tightly in your hand." I thought, "Dad, what kind of test is this?" In Nurpur, the waves sing, the laughter and laughter with my friend Kareem, the mother's bread, and here is this darkness. He paused for a moment and turned the rosary. "O Lord, remind me of the Father. Remember the noise of the market. Believe." Meanwhile, in Nurpur, the dervish sat in Etikaf, with the doors closed, fasting and praying day and night. "O Lord, save my Nasir. Show him the way. Send angels. Take him out of the jungle. Give light to Nurpur." The children would come out and ask, "What's up with Nasir?" The dervish would say, "Pray, Father. God is listening. He will bring him back." In the palace of the king, the drunken ones were clapping their hands in celebration, dancing and singing, drinking wine. "The boy has already been eaten by the wolf. I will drive the dervish out of the city tomorrow. My kingdom will be peaceful." The ministers would say, "Yes, sir. Your victory is certain." But a vizier whispered, "Huja, people's anger is increasing. There is a commotion in the market." The king shouted, "Be quiet." Princess Layla was also silent, sitting at home, looking at the sea through the window. Sakichi said, "This condition is wrong. Why was Nasir a good man, sent to die after praying for the fish to survive? I used to see him in the market. His eyes were calm and devoid of arrogance." The friend said, "Princess, you are changing your mind. Maybe this is a sign from God that pride is decreasing." Nasir was walking in the forest. The sun is setting. Darkness descended like a black cloud tail soid. He stopped under a big tree. The wooden prison caught fire. The darkness was reduced by the light. "Take the bread out of the bag and eat it. Drink water." He prayed while spinning the tasbih. "O God, make this night pass. Give me courage. Remind me of Nurpur." Suddenly, footsteps, a thumping sound like a hunter. Nasir took up the sword. "Who is in the dark?" A wolf came out. Red eyes, teeth bared, body like a mountain, the terror of the whole forest. Nasir trembled with fear. His liver seemed to be in his mouth. "Oh Allah!" He raised his sword, but his hands were shaking, and the wolf stopped, his nose dried. Then he spoke like a human, in a deep but soft voice. "O son of man, do not be afraid. Put down your sword. I am not your enemy. I have smelled your faith. I have received the sound of prayer that has come from Nurpur. You are a true servant of Allah. You are on the right path." Nasir was surprised. He lowered his sword slowly. "You can speak. What kind of magic is this?" The wolf shook his head. "It is not magic. It is the mercy of Allah. Today, we animals have found a tongue for you. For help, because your faith is pure. Seek the path to the cave. I will tell you. Go straight through the trees, where a small stream of water flows. You will reach it by morning, but keep the fire burning at night. Do not be afraid. I am near." Nasir's heart became light. Tears of gratitude appeared in his eyes. "Thank Allah." "Why are you helping?" "The wolf side Allah has given the order. You're fighting against the pride of the king. The wolf that saved Nurper disappeared into the darkness. Nasir sat by the fire and thought, Subhanallah, this is the beginning of the power of faith. The father's prayers came true. The words of the friend of Nurper's prayers came true. He fell asleep and saw his father praying in his dream. Light is rising from the sea of Azan at the mosque in Nurper. The word in the market is amuse bread. The next morning, the first rays of the sun came through the gaps in the trees. A flicker of light seemed to signal the arrival. Nasir raised his head, packed his bag, ate dates, drank water from the spring, and set off on the path shown by neat, clear water flowed beside the stream. Fish jumped happily. The jungle deepened, the bushes were cut, and the water hole tore open. Snakes hissed in the trees. He felt hungry at noon. He ate bread, but his legs were heavy with fatigue. His eyes were wet with sweat. He thought, Father, how different is this jungle from Nurper? The waves sing there. Fish come. Have fun with my friend Kareem. How much did you catch today? Mom said. Father, eat bread. Now it's dark. Suddenly, a roar shook the ground. The trees moved. A tiger was in front of him. The mountain was a battle. Fire flashed in its long hair. The roar was like a life-threatening rush. Nasir stopped. His chest was heaving. O Allah, the king of so many deaths. O Allah, help me. Give me courage. He drew his sword, but the tiger stopped. He looked at him. Then, in that terrible but calm voice, he said, O righteous servant of Allah, why did you raise your sword? I am not your hunter, your friend, your faith, your shield, your prayers. Why are you afraid of the sword when the angels are with you? God's help has come from Nur. Nasir lowered his sword and bowed his head in respect. Thank you. I've come to sing the Sind. I know the dangers of the jungle to fulfill the king's condition. I have heard the story, Nekram said. The tiger nodded his head. Yes, I know everything. The angel of God has ordered us all to show the way to this servant because he is fighting against righteous pride. With faith, the cave is not far away. Go under this big tree where the flowers have bloomed. You will reach him tomorrow morning. Stay here at night. Light a fire. I am going now, the servant of God. It is night. Nasir lit a fire. The darkness has disappeared in the light. Eat bread and drink water. The verses of the Quran were read. 2 days have passed in Nurper. The market is sad. The people are silent. The fish sellers have stopped. Nasir's friends sit on the river bank and cry. He is no longer alive. The jungle has eaten him. Kareem said, I will go and look for him. I remember him every day. The king smiled and said to the palace, Get the dervish out tomorrow. My condition has been won. Nurper, my wazir, Ki Huzur, Shadi Lala, did not sleep all night, only thinking about Nasir. Nasir came out of the forest. On the way to Kalifota, the clear water stream seemed to be arranged by Allah. By noon, he reached the cave. He thanked Allah. Saying Bismillah, he entered the cave. The hole in the mountain was dark. The sound of the terrible wind. He made a torch out of wood. He saw the chest. Finally, the moment came for which he had left the city. The chest was full of dust. The old lock was rusty. It had been lying there for years. He broke the lock with his sword. He opened it. Inside, gold was shining. Diamonds were sparkling. Pearls were like the stars of Nurper. The chest was heavy. Nasir lifted it onto his shoulders, but he felt light with faith. He prayed, "O Allah, thank you. I am bringing no..." He came out of the cave and started his return journey. No other animals were found, only prayers and the sound of waves coming from afar. 3 days passed. In the morning, the friends of Nurper were sitting on the shore and crying. Nasir went. What will happen now? The city market was empty. A small boat appeared in the distance. The The sound of books is like the sound of hope. That's Nasir's boat. There was a scream. People ran to the shore. Prayer turned into happiness. Nasir landed on the boat, tired, dusty body with torn clothes, but a smile on your face. Heavy chest on shoulders. Nasir burst into joy. The drums were played and sweets were distributed. People hugged. Nasir, you won. You are the hero of our faith, the girls said. His courage won everyone's hearts. One woman said, Father, the prayers have worked. God's mercy. The fisherman said, Now the taxes will be reduced. The friends came running to Layla with the news of the chest. Prince Nasir has returned. He has brought the chest from the jungle. Layla's chest fluttered. She had already liked Nasir. Now his courage won everyone's hearts. She told the friends, Come quickly to the court. Let's see my father. The friend said, Princess, your eyes are shining. You have changed your mind. The news reached the king. He sat up, his face pale. This can't be a lie. How did he survive? Just then, Nasir entered the court. With heavy steps, but hold your head high. The ark was placed on the ground. There was a loud noise. The court trembled. The people of the city gathered. The king was surprised. He opened the chest. His hands were shaking. Other kings fought for that chest. Thousands of people gave their lives. Blood flowed all the way to Nasir. How did you bring him alive? Nasir told everyone from the jungle about the wolf. The tigers helped. The snake's path is free from the power of Allah the Lord. The power of faith. Even animals are creations of Allah. They showed the way because the work was good. It was a fight against pride. Faith won. Today the king's eyes opened. It's as if the darkness has disappeared. A storm arose in my mind. Pride broken. He got down from the throne and sat on the ground. He cried, Oh God, forgive me. I was blinded by pride. I was dressed as God. You are the true king, owner of all. My wealth is the land. Your faith is gold. Nasir is yours. The viziers were surprised. One said, Lord, this is guidance. God's mercy. The merchants shouted, Alhamdulillah. Layla came forward with a red face and tears in her eyes. Abujan Nasir has won my heart with this visit. I want to marry him. I want to leave my pride and live with faith. The king was happy and wiped his tears and stood up. Yes, mother. And the king of faith has opened my eyes and the pride of Nasir. The king apologized to the dervish in front of everyone. Forgive me, I have always made fun of you, but you never replied back. The dervish smiled and said, When Allah wants, He guides. People ask forgiveness not from me, from Allah. He is the owner of all, the most merciful and forgiving. The king hugged the dervish. The festival started in Nasir. The wedding took place. The palace was decorated with flowers. The people sang in silk clothes. On the seashore, Nasir, friends, said Nasir, you are selling fish in the hero market. Nasir Shahzadi's husband Nasir smiled and said, Brother, I have won all the gifts of Allah with faith. Layla said, Nasir, your faith has broken my pride. Sweets were distributed in the market on the wedding day. Piro, said Alhamdulillah. Nasir has changed, the dervish, said Father. Thank God for this gift. Pray every day. After the wedding, the city changed. A lotus mosque was built in every street. People returned to the market happily and started thanking God. If you like this video, please like, subscribe to the channel, and press the bell icon so that new stories reach you first.